Have you ever wondered what it's like to own and drive an electric vehicle? Well, so did I before I purchased my Tesla Model Y a year and a half ago. Today's video, I wanted to answer some common questions that I've had about owning a Model Y, including how do you charge it, what do long road trips look like, how about maintenance in transitioning from a gas vehicle or an electric gas hybrid to a fully electric vehicle. We'll also talk about 3 reasons why you should consider buying an electric vehicle for your next vehicle purchase. It's a beautiful fall day today. I've got the car charged up. Let's go for a ride. So what was involved in my decision to purchase an electric vehicle? Well, as I mentioned before, I didn't know a lot about electric vehicles, but have seen them over the years, especially since I live near one of Tesla's supercharging stations. I've always been curious about them, knowing that there are people that have purchased and drive electric vehicles for their daily commute. With more and more auto manufacturers announcing electric vehicle models, it seemed reasonable to me that they were becoming more mainstream. Over the last 20 years, I've primarily owned trucks, and I really didn't have an electric vehicle in mind when it was time to look for another car. At the time, I was commuting several hundred miles each week with a fuel budget to match. After renting smaller cars for work trips, I was open to the idea of moving from a truck to a car, but that being a gas car. However, during test drives of several models, the Chevy Volt captured my attention, mainly due to the acceleration and fuel efficiency as compared with other vehicles that I was considering. As a hybrid electric vehicle, the Volt offers a gas engine backup that gives the driver the ability to continue without stopping when the battery is spent. Now that was a large decision point for me in going from gas to something that was electric, as I wasn't quite ready to make the leap into a fully electric vehicle. While we still own the Volt and use it for our shorter commutes, what I noticed driving it is that on longer drives I felt a sense of defeat when the gas engine would kick in, knowing that while the car was still mainly using an electric drivetrain, it was using gas to do so. The limited electric range and the lack of option not to recharge the battery quickly were both factors that led me to think that it was time to move into a longer range, fully electric vehicle. In March of 2020, Tesla stated that they would begin shipping production vehicles of the Model Y to fulfill an almost year-old long backlog of pre-orders. After taking my friend's Model 3 out for a test drive, I decided to place an order for the larger Model Y, thinking that it would be at least 8 months to a year before I would take delivery. I was pleasantly surprised when I received a text from Tesla in May stating that I could expect to take delivery in June of 2020, which I eventually did. I really didn't know much about what to expect in owning a fully electric vehicle, and I watched several YouTube videos such as this to learn as much as I could before my car arrived. Since that time, I've had the pleasure of giving test drives to many people and am frequently asked questions about what it is like to own and drive an electric vehicle in my day-to-day life. So I thought I'd share a few of these questions and my answers to them with you right now. Now, the first question I'm asked is, how do you charge an electric vehicle? Well, most electric vehicles have a plug socket that will allow it to charge on either 120 volt, which is called level 1 charging, or 220 volt, which is called level 2. Level 1 charging typically adds about 4 to 6 miles of range per hour of charge. Level 2 increases that to 10 to 40 miles per hour, depending on how many amps the 220 volt circuit provides, and also what type of charge converter is present on the car. I use a level 2 charger running at 32 amps for both of my vehicles, and in the Tesla, I typically gain about 29 miles per hour of charge. While I could increase this by buying a different charger, this rate generally meets my needs as most of my vehicle charging occurs overnight when the vehicle is parked in the garage. The other option for Teslas and other newer electric vehicles is the DC fast charger. For me, the supercharger adds about 350 to 500 miles per hour of charge and gives about 80% of the charge of the battery charge in under 30 minutes. Does this add travel time to longer trips? The short answer is yes. But I don't mind because my gas stops previously were about the same time as I would take a break from driving to maybe grab a bite to eat or tend to other needs. When you plan a cross-country route or a long road trip in the Tesla, the computer will tell you not only where to stop to recharge, but how much time that you will need at each stop, as well as the total estimated trip time. I find this to be very accurate in most of my longer drives. The second question that I get is about maintenance, specifically the fact that you need to take electric vehicles to a dealership or service center that's certified to work on them. In the case of my Model Y, it's the Tesla Service Center, which is about 150 miles away from where I live. Thankfully, service with electric vehicles is pretty minimal. Mainly, the service schedule includes rotating the tires every 6,250 miles, which you can do at most local auto centers. Brakes should also be checked every 12 months in parts of the country that use road salt in winter to look for corrosion. Oh, and don't forget to refill the windshield wiper fluid when you see an alert on the screen. Now, since there is no radiator, engine oil, transmission, or four-wheel drive differential, you can save extra maintenance time and expense involved with these items that are usual needs for gas vehicles. One drawback in owning an electric vehicle in terms of maintenance is with tire replacement. Given that electric vehicles are heavier than gas cars of the same size and also provide exceptional acceleration, the reality is that the tires will wear out sooner. The tires of my vehicle are rated for 25,000 miles. However, I'm at 31,000 miles, and I still have a decent amount of tread remaining. But I do plan to replace my tires before winter arrives, just for safety and traction. Another caveat, at least with Teslas, is that the vehicle is not supplied with a spare tire. You can easily purchase an aftermarket tire to use, but will need to give up some of the cargo space to carry it with you. Otherwise, if you do encounter a flat tire, then a call to Tesla roadside assistance is available to get you back on your way. Should you have the need to have an electric vehicle towed, then the primary option is with a flatbed tow truck. Towing electric vehicles with the wheels on the ground will cause potential issues with overcharging the battery through regenerative braking. Speaking of regenerative braking, that leads me to the third most often asked question, which is, what is it like to transition from a gas vehicle to electric? Well, other than not filling it up with gas, the primary difference that I found in transitioning was getting used to the regenerative braking feature. Regenerative braking is available on electric vehicles to recover some of the energy used in decelerating the vehicle to charge the batteries. Now, this took me about a day to get used to when driving, as a sudden lift off the accelerator pedal will cause braking that can seem uncomfortable. In gas vehicles, letting off the gas pedal provides a coasting type of deceleration that's not present in electric vehicles. While the strength of regenerative braking can be set to reduce this effect, it is more desirable to use it to its fullest to achieve the best battery range. The other main thing that you'll notice in electric vehicles is the instant acceleration. It's actually one of the most fun things about owning an electric vehicle, and it's also very practical. If you need to pass another vehicle and don't want to spend a lot of time in the passing lane, or you want to match the speed of vehicles quickly to merge into traffic on a freeway or highway on-ramp, then you would find the acceleration to be very useful. What would be considered a jackrabbit start from a stoplight is just a typical acceleration in an electric vehicle, as electric cars have instant torque to the wheels that is not present on a gas engine at low RPM or through the transmission gears. All this to say that the driving experience in an electric vehicle is fun. Coupled with the autopilot driver assistance that reduces driving workload, I find that I'm less fatigued on longer road trips and I arrived at my destination more mentally alert and refreshed. If you're considering an electric vehicle, then check out the following 3 reasons that I believe will nudge you a little closer to buying one. As mentioned before, the performance, both with the acceleration as well as the technology features that bring convenience into your life. The second reason, lower maintenance and fuel stops. Having to make fewer trips to the service center reduces the amount of time that you spend in maintenance while owning the vehicle. Also, since the vehicle charges while at home, there are fewer stops at the gas station throughout the month. I recall needing to stop many times for gas when I was very pressed for time to get to my destination. And the third reason is that electric vehicles do not burn gas. While some argue the impact of this on the environment and the fact that some electricity is produced from fossil fuels, the reality is that driving an electric vehicle reduces our reliance on these, conserving a resource that can be used by future generations. Now, I'm a realist in knowing that electric vehicles aren't practical for all people in all situations. If you drive long distances in areas that don't yet have fast chargers, then you may not find an electric vehicle in your price range that gives you the mile range that you need for long commutes. Also, while there are electric trucks that are coming to the market in the next year or two, most of today's electric vehicles do not have the capacity to tow large boats, trailers, or campers. If this is a need for you, then a gas vehicle or truck may still be the way to go, at least for now. However, if you are like me, commuting as a single driver, or taking family trips where you can find fast chargers, then driving an electric vehicle is very doable and very likely something that could fit into your lifestyle. Well, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to this channel for more content. Also, if you have an electric vehicle and would like to share your experiences or have ideas for further videos on this topic, please leave a comment for me down below, and I'll see you out on the road. Safe driving.